Yeah, so maybe we'll go to Fred Baker now. Fred, thanks for being up here. Is there anything you want to say about your experiences with Skywatcher and all this stuff, and maybe take some questions?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sweet. That's good because my phone doesn't like me for some reason. But yeah, experience, man. I feel like we're from the same family because I can't meditate. Yeah, I'm right in the middle. I don't know what's going on. I'm figuring out like the rest of y'all. Like I got in this a couple years ago uh, with Jake, and we were doing other things, and things just
Is
went.
this before he went whistleblower, by the way? I'm just trying to get the timeline
Yeah,
nailed
he
down.
he was in the process of like trying to figure out what he wanted to do because everyone thinks you're working for the American people and security and all this stuff and you think you're being a patriot and then he got into situations before I got there but leading up to what do I do like it am I doing this for my country for the right reasons is what's going on and so he was at a tipping point if you will on what he should do should come out or not. I would like to say that he probably was already over that tipping point by the time we got together and was trying to put a team together that was trustworthy, that was not tainted, that he knew he could trust kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you weren't really on UFO crash retrievals or anything while in the military. You kind of connected when you were already out of the military too. Is that kind of understanding?
Yeah, as far as I know, I was not connected with anything while I was still in.
Cool. So then, yeah, I guess continuing along the timeline, how did you get introduced to the whole psionic side of things, and what are your experiences like with that? And for anyone who doesn't know, Fred's part of the Skywatcher team. You're the guy with the long hair, right? He's been in, and you were on the NewsNation piece too, right?
Correct. Yep.
And right about that time, our Overwatch Fred looked up to the sky and saw a disc, a classic lenticular-shaped disc.
That was Fred Baker, Special Operations veteran, now part of the Skywatcher team.
So he was flying the egg.
And then when we had to pull him out of this, that's when the egg dropped.
Wow, so at the very moment that he's essentially detaching his mind from the object, you see it fall.
Correct.
So yeah, what was that like getting the meeting Barber and then doing this kind of psionic thing and then deciding to make a company around it or an organization? What was that kind of process like?
Yeah. So myself and Jake, were up in DC for Stephen Greer's disclosure event, and that's kind of when I think the decision was clearly made. Like we're gonna do this. Like we need to work for the good guys. And but regardless, side point to that, there was a guy there that recognized me from my Instagram, and he messaged me later. He's like, "Hey, I saw you at the thing. Just want to let you know that I live like an hour away from you, and I am a psionic, and I can do this deal wherever I want, whenever you want. Just let me know." And so I kind of took a leap of faith. Like I didn't have any experience with this kind of thing. I've never really I've seen some weird things through my career. Nothing too profound, I guess.
Were you kind of into UFOs, or like why were you at that Greer event in the first place? Like personal curiosity, you wanted to see what's going on, or what? Like, what's that about? Your history with UFOs, I would say.
I don't have any. Uh, you know, I can't say I didn't have interests. Like it is interesting to me. A lot of things interest me, but it was definitely one of those things. Is like I'll never know. I'll go to my deathbed never knowing. So why even put any kind of effort into that? So it
So,
wasn't.
so how did you end up at the Greer event?
We were there at the behest of our prior folks that we were working for.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, we were there to ensure that certain things weren't being spoke about.
In 2023, I believe, there was a whistleblower conference shortly after the Whistleblower Protection Act got activated, and then there was this at the National Press Club hosted by Stephen Greer. There were several whistleblowers that had decided to come forward in that environment and share their stories. So we were actually sent there on behalf of our employer to look for whistleblowers that we were trying to basically report to the FBI and get arrested, because at that time I was in this weird place between becoming a whistleblower or rounding up the whistleblowers and shutting them up, because there were good reasons and bad reasons to be a whistleblower. And so
you were at this press event red teaming, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
You are trying to maybe gather intel on people who might become a liability for the program.
Yeah.
And you hear Michael Herrera give his
And and that's kind of what led us to like, this ain't right. But like something's shaky about this. This is no good. But yeah, so this guy contacted me, and I took a chance. I was like, I don't know anything about this. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm just gonna go to this guy's house, at midnight and hang out with him for 6 hours, and we're gonna just stand and look at the sky, kind of thing. But yeah, he gave me I showed up. He gave me kind of a debrief on what you should do. Stay positive and think about a very important moment in your life that you absolutely know is a loving moment, and then project that like a light into the sky or into the universe, whatever, and they'll locate your position and come to you and respond. And the big thing is like, don't have any expectations. You're just here. And I absolutely didn't have any expectations, because not that I didn't believe, but I just figured like, yeah, I'm gonna screw this up. There's no way I can get to that level of emotion and be able to do this thing. So I felt like I was gonna just bolo this whole thing. Man, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And that night, probably, I wouldn't say it made me a true believer, but it definitely went like, there is something here. I don't know what it is, but this is pretty definitive that something outside of our capability or understanding is here.
So the psionic aspect of this, was it kind of not really as prevalent when you were before you had kind of gone to that Greer event, like in your previous employer and whatnot? Uh, you know what I mean? Was that not kind of was that kind of not part of the conversation as far as like what you were doing with your employer?
No, that wasn't our like our venue that we were looking at. I was strictly hired for other things, and it had nothing to do with psionics. That was my first experience with that, and then obviously I contacted Jake about that. I said, hey, this guy is the real deal. I don't know what to do with this, and then that's when I got more information on that aspect of it.
Oh, from Jake, he was like, "Yeah, I've kind of heard about that thing from my years working." Is that guy, by the way, public? The Instagram guy?
The Instagram guy?
Yeah, the person who messaged you, who you went out to go visit, is he like public, or is he kind of not really? Is he like affiliated with Skywatcher, or he's not really a public person?
He is on Skywatcher. He is public. I just haven't had, like, we're good friends now. I just haven't had that direct conversation with him about like, hey, do you want me to just talk about you? So, but he is out there.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, he is out there. I'm not sure if he wants me to just blast his name out or not. But
Cool. Yeah, I wouldn't until you get that like for sure approved. Okay, and then what do what about what do you is there anything you want to say about like kind of what your guys' plans are and goals are now, and kind of this the outreach, community outreach? How do you guys see this going forward? Right, we're kind of talking about the DMs a little bit. Paranormal Chris, Average Chris, the debunker, he posted his DMs, right, and we had mixed reviews up here. I think he definitely kind of did play up as much as he could the sketch angle. But yeah, any thoughts on that? We had people like be here saying though, like that's a good thing that they're inviting skeptics and whatnot. Any thoughts on the how you guys are interacting with the community and getting more people like involved? You want to
yeah,
speak about?
yeah, I mean, he's not the only skeptic that we've contacted. So, not to diminish that he isn't special or anything, but like, he isn't the only guy. We're contacting everybody. People who are for it, people who are against it, people who are completely indifferent. It's the only way to get something that's completely verifiable is if everyone's on the same level. All these people with different looks and aspects to what they're seeing or what they're believing, uh, all coming together and saying, I saw the same thing, I experienced the same thing, I can't explain it, or I felt this. And now you have all these different levels of people coming together saying the same thing. I think that's the kind of definitive stuff we're looking for. I can show you all the videos and documents and stuff I want. It's really not going to convince people. You have to be there. You have to experience it for yourself. And eventually that's what we would like to do, is to bring people out, whoever, and show them like, here it is. And then,
Yeah, and you hear that from CE5ers even before like Jake and Skywatcher was on the team. It's like I think I've heard it from Pop Tart MB who've been into that even before all this. Of just like yeah, when you're out there, it's very a different experience. I do have a question too. One of the other things is personally I think there's some dangers to CE5. Do you guys and I haven't really I feel like heard that kind of discussed. Do you have any thoughts on that or any potential negative side effects related to all this stuff?
um, I have heard from personally talking to people about hitchhiker effect. I've only heard of one negative one specifically. I certainly, I mean, I hate to be a naysayer. I certainly wouldn't just on your own willy nilly watching a YouTube video try it out. I would definitely have, if you will, quote unquote, a professional there with you to go through it if that's something you want to seek. I mean, it certainly is a frequency or airway that you're just opening up that you don't really understand. And believe me, I don't fully understand it. So me saying this right now is completely ignorant, but just me thinking out loud about it, you probably don't want to just open yourself up to everything. Maybe you have to be completely focused on a specific thing, or you become vulnerable to something. And that's just me. That's not other people's expert opinion. Again, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, and by the way, if anyone listening, Daz Smith here, community friend and remote viewer, he put in the thread here, the dangers of CE5. If anyone wants to kind of go read that. Also, by the way, I just saw this. I'm about to clip it up. He was on Watch Mojo today. Congrats, Daz. I saw they had Courtney Brown on last week, and it's pretty. I think it's kind of a sign of the times, right? And I think Non-Credible was saying this. We have like remote viewers on Watch Mojo. Like, who would have thought? Okay, I got one more question. Then maybe we'll open it up to the room for questions. Fred, I don't know how much time you got, but so the Esalen kind of where this whole project is kind of meeting with like big money, I would say, and this kind of international effort, like where Jake's and Ross are talking about like these telekinetic kids from Germany.
There was a gathering at Esalen,
Okay.
and a lot of very high net worth individuals who were interested in suppression of non-human intelligence attended. What happened?
I think something epic happened. I think something happened that, if it was fully documented and understood, would go in the history books.
I had a feeling last week that that was historical.
It felt absolutely historic. What you had was a combination of the world's leading, like most frontier scientists. You had people that were top experts in all their fields. And then you had a variety of fields that was outrageous. We had neurosurgeons, doctors in neurosurgery. We had physicists. We had high net worth individuals in the billions that were extremely open-minded and had a frontier attitude towards all this. We had mystics. We had psychic kids. We had children from Germany that could harness and actually showcase their ability to perform telekinesis, their ability to psychically see things with their mind, and were able to prove that to all of us.
What's your thoughts on that whole kind of dynamic? And you have anything you want to say about that? Or I just find that very curious. Like, it's interesting, like, right? Like, how are all these pieces intermingling and where is it starting? Where is it going kind of thing?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's going to take a world effort. It's going to take a human effort to do this, to get this everyone on the same page. Kind of, hey, this is for real. What are we going to do with it? Kind of deal. As far as I'll get to what probably people are thinking or what they're looking for an answer to is, how do you know you're not getting infiltrated? How do you know there's not a bad actor and by inviting all these different groups of people or individuals? Folks at this group have been doing this for a long time, and we are covered, and so we're good. We're not going to get infiltrated. We know who the bad actors are. We're solid. So there's no concern with that aspect of it. But I think
And
it
there's
is.
no like religion or anything to it. You guys aren't Scientologists or anything like that. I'm just asking. I'm not accusing or anything, but yeah.
No, there's no there's no Scientologists in there. I'd say probably more Christians than there are if there are any Scientologists. I don't know, but I'd
Do
say
you
that
personally think there's Jake kind of did, but do you think there's a spiritual component to this whole kind of discussion?
And once it was just me and that object in between the pick and the drop site, there was about 20 miles in between. I felt like something was inside of me. I felt like I was possessed by the most beautiful spirit I'd ever been possessed by. And
Was it loving?
it was loving. But there was a sense of sadness at the same time. And
Had you ever had an experience like this before?
no, it was a very feminine energy. I'll tell you that. It felt like the spirit of God, but not in any masculine sense. And it wasn't like a soul. It was like a frequency that I was connected with. And whatever that force was, since that night, it has stayed with me. And as crazy as this sounds, it's what's guiding me now, and it's what's providing protection.
it's tough to say. I mean, is it a universal spiritual thing or is it an individual spiritual thing? I don't know. I did have one moment that was super vulnerable to me that, I asked for help and it showed up. I don't understand that. But just in case, I said, I got the message, I have no idea. So I don't know what that is. I can't relate it to anything, but it would seem from the vast majority of people that I speak to who are psionics or who have been invested in this, that there appears to be some kind of spiritual thing to it. Maybe that's just, in a scientific way, maybe that's a specific frequency that just functions better, right? We keep talking about love. Maybe love is a frequency that in the universe just works and is successful, whereas hate is the opposite and it's not. I mean, we can kind of see that in the world right now. Like hate doesn't really work out for us, but when we're all loving and forgiving, and it just kind of works. But
Wow, that's a great. I had this clip pulled out I wanted to play from what you had said earlier about they were saying project love, and the fact that you said that right now too. It's kind of interesting. Here's Tom DeLonge explaining how to stop abductions, and I feel like some of the language used was kind of similar. Just kind of reminded me of it. Maybe not, but I'll just play real quick, and then we'll open the floor to some questions. Here we go.
UFO phenomenon has a hive mind. Okay, these.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Sorry, give me one moment. Here we go.
An example. You're in the middle. At your house at some point, and you wake up and you have little gray aliens in your room and you're being abducted. Do you know that if you call out the name of Jesus, that abduction could stop? Or if you call out the name of the source of galactic love, it'll stop. Or if you call out the name of Buddha in the love that Buddhism has or whatever, it'll stop. It doesn't matter what you call out. It's the fact that you are projecting positive energy. And that is something that needs to be understood and studied. But it doesn't mean the stuff's not physical. It is. There still are spaceships that crash. There still are alien bodies. There's still, or biological body. There's still all these things that come with it. That we can back engineer, that we can make a new spacecraft, that we can have a better understanding of time and a better understanding of anti-gravity. But it comes with all these other things of human consciousness that we have to understand. It's very, very complex and difficult. And what I found myself involved in is a little bit of all of it, with all these different groups of people.
All right. So does that kind of resonate, Fred, with like kind of anything you would kind of felt that what he had said there? To me, it did when I heard you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not really sure, but I apologize. My daughter's finishing up here and I got to get her back home. I thought I had more time, but I apologize for that.
Oh, you got to hop off there? I'm sorry. Sorry to everyone who had their hand up. Thanks for being here, Fred. Maybe we'll get you in another one.
Yeah, no worries.
And yeah, thanks for being open and transparent and talking to us.
Yep.
Cool. Sorry to everyone else who wanted to say something, but have a good one.